Hi everyone, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com and I am back with another video. This video is a little bit different because I'm responding to a question that I get over and over and over and over again. All right, well, actually several questions, but this one I wanted to start with and address. I'm talking about being able to manifestation, manifest the life you want, manifest the man you want, manifest the woman you want, manifest the car, the kids, manifest the body you want, manifest. It seems to be a new age buzzword. It also seems to be something that everybody puts in there and says, you can manifest this if. Here's the thing. Think about it for a second. People in countries that are third world, impoverished and poor countries, do you not think they want food and water? What about Haiti? What about Ethiopia? What about countries in Africa? Do you think that these people want water and food? Of course they do. Do you think that they think about it in a positive way? Absolutely. So why isn't it happening for them? It seems like the word manifestation is just another kind of focus for people to talk about how to do it in a first world country, a North American country, England, say, for example, which is not a North American country, America, Canada. You know, we're supposed to manifest it. If you just do this, you'll get what you want. So let's break down manifestation. I've always had an issue with this. Manifestation comes from the idea that because you want something, you should be able to have it. So it does not take into account what is in your life path, on your soul path, in the way of your life. What is it you're here to do? What do you need to do in order to develop as an etheric soul being as opposed to a human being and doing on earth? What is it you're here to do? What did your soul come in to do? Because once we get here on this side, once we actually come down here on this side, we get so distracted by everything. This is a material world. The material things, the cars, the money, the men, the women, if I have the perfect body, if I take steroids at the gym and my arms are really bulked up, if I have a really tiny waist, if I snort the cocaine and I'm a runway model, these things are things that we think are valuable, but they're actually not. And when people focus on manifesting, I always hear this. If I could just have money, I would do good with it. Well, here's the thing. You should be doing good anyway, so to speak. People don't do good. They do all kinds of things, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. So manifestation should come from the perspective of, I am here to do as you wish for me to do. And I'm speaking to the Creator when I'm saying this. I'm personally speaking to God. But I'm here as a vehicle for the actions that you need me to take. And once you detach from the ideas of, I wish I could have that guy, that girl, that job, that money, that car, that house, live in this area. Once you detach from that and just be present in the moment, you will manifest, because what is supposed to come to you will come to you. Sometimes when we manipulate circumstances, so what do I mean by that? People will often manipulate when they go into occult shops. They don't just go in and say, I want to make money, so I want some money oil, or, I want health, so I want to be healthy. They go in there and say, literally, I want that job over there. I love that guy that I'm having an affair with, so I want him to leave his family, his wife, his babies, whatever, and I want him to come with me because, of course, he is sleeping with you, so why wouldn't he come with you? Problem is, when we manifest from that perspective with a manipulative connotation, we pull energy to us that may not be right for us. And therefore, there is a whole domino effect of energies that continues on down the line. And people don't ever take this into consideration. They're kind of seeing it one perspectively from their own perspective, as opposed to, if you want a passionate love like the guy you're having the affair with, let's just say, or the woman, and you want that, what you want to manifest is love, passionate love. So you would go into an occult store and ask for a candle that was dressed to bring the elements of passion, some cherry oil, some vanilla, and love, some rose oil, if that's what you wanted. If you just wanted the passion, do this. It depends. Do you want a red candle, pink candle? How do you want to blend them together? But without a specific person attached to it. Let's say you've been married for, I don't know, 20 years, and your husband says, I want a divorce, or your wife says, I want a divorce, and you don't want them to leave you. So you run out and you're like, I want my husband to stay with me. I want my wife to stay with me. I need a candle. I need to do some magic. I need to do this. I need to do something. I need to get a doll and stick some fucking pins in it to get this bastard to stay. Funny thought, but when you manipulate somebody's intentions against their own intentions, it always boomerangs back on you. That's why that's not the right way. You do not have that kind of control over somebody else's life. You may temporarily, but then it's going to blow up in your face. Let's say the person, the man or the woman that you just manifested to come back that wants a divorce comes back. And then when they come back, they're like, I'm miserable, I hate you, and they can't be nice to you. And they don't like clean up the house. They don't do anything. They don't care. They're like, I don't want to be here. I just don't like you. Why do you want to live with that? You don't want to live with that. So you want to move in a different way. What you want to do is you always want to manifest from the perspective of your highest good. Bring me abundance. You can just use the word abundance because abundance affects every area of your life. It is not just monetary. You can use the word abundance and you can say, you know, I want to manifest abundance into my life. Abundance means you have ample of everything without taking from anyone else. You don't want to cross boundaries with your intention, even if you think you know what you want to do. For example, if you're screwing the neighbor's husband, I keep using the husbands out there. That's because I'm female, so I'm saying it. But if you're screwing the neighbor's husband and you're having a great affair with him, like it's totally fun. You have dinner, you play golf, you know, you fuck him. It's great. It's awesome. And you try to manifest him as your husband. This is not going to work because he's not truly free to do so, or he would have done so. That's a weird thing to say, but that's kind of how it works. And again, when people say you can manifest anything you want into your life, that's not true. Because when somebody is the mother of a child that's drug overdosed and they're lying on the ground frothing and they go to the hospital and they're brain dead and the mother's like, I'm going to manifest my son to get better. If that's not the plan for that soul, then that's not going to happen for that soul. So you have to understand there is an energetic purpose on a spiritual level, and manifesting seems to utilize the spiritual powers while directing the intention towards the physical world that we live in, which is very limited. It's very limited. Sometimes we don't even know, in my opinion, we don't even know what we could have. If we go to high school, let's say in Indiana, and we date somebody there and he's like the football player. So you're like the cheerleader, he's the football player, or vice versa. And you're like, this is great. I'm going to marry him. We're going to have 4 kids. It's going to be awesome. You've never been outside your little city. You don't know. You don't know. So why limit yourself? We often operate out of fear because we don't know things. So we jump into something. This is my chance. I've got to take it now. This is all I can do. I've got to do this now. So when it comes to manifesting, the way that I do it is I want to open up for love. That means love in every area of my life. I also use the word abundance. I want a, great career. I don't say what it is specifically because maybe I don't know what spirit has in mind for me to get where I'm going. I may need to put myself in different positions in order to acquire the knowledge in order to move on. But we are so gung-ho to change. And personally, at this point in my life, I'm just asking to be of service in the way that I'm needed to be of service. So when I look at manifesting, I'm manifesting happiness, health, communication, and just being able to be abundant in every aspect of my life. I'm not directing it at personal objectives. We tend to do that, and that's a controlling aspect of manifesting. And again, as I always say, if you could really manifest anything that your ego wants, that's what we're talking about. People very rarely are saying, I want to be of service. I want to manifest to be of service to God, or I want to manifest to be of service to mankind. They're not usually doing it. They usually want somebody else's spouse. They want money for themselves so they can have a big house. Oh, but I want it so my kids are happy. You have no idea what will elevate your kids on a soul level to find their happiness. You just want what you want when you want it. So the way to do it is to open up the energy fields and to stay present in the moment without putting an attachment on a particular desire within the context of manifesting. And that is my little video on manifestation, the questions that you asked. That's the question that you asked. Now, the next question we're going to, it's question number 2. Question number 2 that I get all the time, and a lot of people in the New Age community speak this. And I can't argue individually with every single person that I run into in the New Age community. That would take up way too much time. I can barely get out the door on time. But people are always saying, you know, when we cross out of our physical body, we go and it's all good on the other side. So I'm just going to ask you just to suspend that idea for a second, because that's a nice idea actually. But let's look at it this way. When a new baby is being born on earth, it's a lovely thing. There's a baby coming. We're all super excited. The way that our life turns after that baby comes can be contingent on so many other things. Our environment, our religious beliefs, the placement of our family, the country we're born into. The same thing applies when we cross out of the physical into the spiritual. There are many different dimensions. There's not only dimensions up and down, they're also parallel, logistically, and sideways. So where are we going and for what purpose? And there's different levels. And just like there's different people on earth, there are different energies on the other side, and they are not all human. I have a real problem with spiritual people saying, I mean, it's only my personal opinion, and it's from the work I've done, and I've been doing this work since I was a little kid, and I've been doing it professionally for almost 40 years. So I'm going to put it that way from my experiences. But to suggest that it's only good when you cross out of the body is perhaps a little bit naive, because it's not only good. There are many variations of spirits. And just because you leave your physical body on this side, let's say you're a murderer on this side and you die and you leave. Do you think automatically you become one with God and you've got wings on your back and you're like, now I'm a perfect being? No, there's some transitions on an energetic level with the etheric body that you have to make first. And then there's some, corrections sort of health-wise on the other side. I'm going to word it just to describe it, that you have to go through. So when they say that, it's interesting, and you don't always just cross out of this energy field. Sometimes people choose, and I'm going to use the word choose, to stay in the lower vibrations. Well, those people who choose to be in the lower vibrations, like those on earth who choose to be in the lower vibrations, people that commit crimes, I mean serious crimes, people that rape and pillage through society, drunk and high, all the time, all over the place. People like that choose that in their lives, okay? So if you choose to carjack somebody, that's a choice you're making. You choose to do a gang-by, drive-by, whatever, that's a choice you're making. You choose to rape somebody, that's a choice. You don't have to do these things. However, you're choosing a lower vibration. So does it not seem applicable that when you cross out of the physical, that perhaps there are energies like that on the other side too? I don't know about the highest levels of the other side, but there are energies like that. So to assume that while you're here, nothing negative from a spiritual perspective can manifest in your life here is also an interesting concept. It's not one that I believe from the work that I'm in. Not everything is evil, obviously, and not everything is good, obviously. There has to be a balance. If there is light, there is dark, and vice versa. If there is up, there is down. So there is not only one way of energy expressing itself on the other side. And when people say, when you see a spirit, oh, it's a good spirit for sure. Most times it is a good spirit, but not all the time is it a good spirit. There are so many different people traveling the energetic highway that exists between this dimension and the astral dimension, and the ones that extend out both sideways and up and down, that you can't make a comment like that because you have no way of knowing where all of these energies are coming from. There's also people that live on different planets. And by people, energies that live on different planets, because I don't think we're in human form. There's so many things that we don't understand, and so many different worlds going on simultaneously within the context of dimensional flow, that you can't just say everybody who knocks on your front door is usually probably somebody that's okay. But, sometimes there's somebody knocking on the front door, like a few years ago at Christmas, trying to see if you're home. So they know, they knock like they're your friend, and then they're like, hey, Mary, I'm here to drop this off. And when you don't answer, they know to go around the back and rob your house. That happens on a spiritual level as well. And people don't often think that. They think differently. They just think it's automatically perfect once you cross out. What you do in order to determine what kind of energy comes into your home space, your bed space, who your child is talking to when they see a spirit, their imaginary friend, whatever it is, you have to actually vibrationally feel the spirit. And if you talk to children, they'll be like, oh, I like that person. Okay. Even if you're like, who are you talking to? And when the child feels that the person is not safe for them to be around, even in real life, they can feel that in spiritual life. And there's a reason that they're telling you that. So it's not all airy fairy. I can't stand that. And I just have to make a correction as far as people asking me that, because they're like, oh, it can't, when you cross out, it's going to be all perfect. Well, that's like saying when you get out of high school, it's just going to be wonderful. It's not the same thing. It's not that way at all. There's a combination and a mixture of energies. Now, one thing I can tell you, you can elevate your energy so as to repel certain things from you, but karmically speaking, or balance, because karma is a balance to me, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about. Karma is not necessarily a punishment. It's more of a balance when I'm looking at the energy of it. So we judge it as good or bad. Like, oh my God, that person robbed my house, they're bad. Well, it appears that they're bad, yes. However, it may be a balance or an exchange of energy in order to show you the opposite or opposing reflection that you have taken in a different lifetime. Or it could be something that this person is needing to do and mirror what you're doing in this life, and or you could be mirroring what they're doing. So we don't know. There's all kinds of things, but I look at it as an experience. So that's the word I'm going to use for karma from now on, is experience in this life. I am experiencing something. This is a lesson, and I don't always know that they're lessons, but it is an experience, and I'm not judging it as good or bad. I'm observing it without absorbing it. Just because you get home invasion robbed, or you get, brutally attacked or whatever, we look at it as good or bad. But it's an experience. And if you take the personal element out of it and you look at it as an experience, you can then begin to analyze, at least on a spiritual level, what is going on around you. There's so many different vibrations. That's what I try to teach people when it comes to what happens to our body. People go all kinds of places. I've seen spirits go, they tell me all kinds of different things, from being on the astral level and not wanting to go cross over, to crossing over immediately and jumping back, to being somewhere like in a college, to going right back to where they feel comfortable and all their ancestors, to going into a hospital and having their energy shut down for like a year. And I use the word hospital the only way I know how to describe it, but an energy center where they are balanced and brought back into harmony is the way that I would word it. So all of these things exist on the other side. So I don't think any of us can say for sure what goes on, because each of us has experienced different things. And with the people that I've talked to over the last, 30 years, some of whom had near-death experiences, I'm always given different descriptions of things that can happen and things that do happen and things that they see while out of body. Also with people with out of body experiences, of which I had, they go down different hallways and different doors, and all kinds of different things happen to different people. All of them have to be taken into account. So we really don't know. As much as we know, we only know what we know from the people that come back to tell us, but we don't know. If you grow up in a little town, that's what you know, until you hit New York City and you hit yourself going up, up in a high-rise building, or when you've come off of farm property. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. And so that is the end of that question. And once again, y'all, my name is Sloan from SloanBella.com.